Hey guys, Andy back from Mediocre Hobbies, bringing you another video on the Leviathan series. So as you guys are very much aware, I did the Indomitus series last week, getting all the Necrons and all of the Marines painted from the Indomitus set. And now I'm moving on to the Leviathan set. So we have all of the Space Marines here, and last week I did my first miniature for that series, which was the beautiful new Terminators. I've got one of them done as a tester, and we'll do the rest later on. I'll explain how that works now. And in today's video, I'm going to show you guys how I tackled this brute, the Screamer Killer. Retro old model turned beautiful new sculpt. And if you're wondering what scheme this is, it's based on my own Tyranids, and as you can see, I'm quite a big fan of this scheme, and there's many miniatures in my Tyranid army painted like this. So that's what I'm going to focus on today. I'm going to show you guys how I got the Screamer Killer painted and based on my own Hive Fleet that I don't really have a name for. And show you how much fun it is to get the Screamer Killer done. My plan for this week and next week is to do a couple of videos on the Leviathan series. So obviously we're going to get the Screamer Killer. I want to do the Lictors, they're so cool. And then one or two other videos on that series. And they'll be like the videos I'm doing for Leviathan. And then from the 26th of June, I'm going to start Leviathan Week, where I'm going to, like the Indomitus week, I'm going to spend that entire week finishing off everything that I haven't done in the Leviathan set so far before that point. So I'm really excited to bring that to you guys. If you enjoyed the Indomitus series, make sure you stick around, because the Leviathan series is going to be as crazy, because I think there's actually more miniatures in that. So yeah, it should be a lot of fun. Okay guys, without further ado, let's get into painting a Screamer Killer. So the Screamer Killer is one of the most popular miniatures in the new Leviathan box set. A lot of people's favorite Tyranid miniature. For me, the Lictors are definitely my favorite Tyranid miniatures in the box, but the Screamer Killer comes in at a close second. Absolutely stunning miniature. It's only like 6 pieces as well, so you can put it together super fast, which I really like. Sprayed it black and then gave it a heavy gray zenithal of Grey Seer. Looking for about kind of 85% coverage of the Grey Seer, just leaving shadows in the really deep recesses. Like I said at the beginning, I'm going to be doing my Hive Fleet, which I should really come up with a name for if I'm going to be showing you guys how I do it a lot. But that's neither here nor there. Guilliman Flesh Contrast was painted over all of the soft areas of the miniature. So everywhere except the chitin on his back, arms and legs. I like to give him as kind of crazy alien looking skin as possible. And I know it's bizarre to start from just a normal human skin tone, but I go from here to kind of making it really pink by throwing a Carapace crimson shade all over the bits that I just did. So all of those soft parts on the model. I also left the claws, hooves, and the inside of the mouth clean and white for now, or Grey Seer, if you know what I mean. I hope you guys are excited for Leviathan week starting on the 24th, 26th. It's going to be another fun week of getting an entire box set kind of finished. So by the end of this month, I will have my entire Leviathan set painted up, and I have quite a substantial Flesh Tearers army then, with an entire half from Leviathan and an entire half from Indomitus all done together. So as you can see with the Carapace Crimson on, the skin looks very inhuman, very kind of sickly and awful and gross. And for the scheme that I go for, which is actually kind of a winter themed Tyranid army, I lose a lot of snow effect at the end. It's the only army that I've ever done with snow. I don't really like snow effect or snowboards or anything to do with snow, so I don't know why I chose to do it with my Tyranids. Maybe I was just playing around with Valhalla and Blizzard when it came out and decided to do an army for it. Didn't know it was going to become such a large force, but I guess that's where we are now. So Screaming Skull was dry brushed all over the skin, just leaving that horrible pinky color in all of the very deep recesses. Once again, feeding on that kind of sickly alien look to the skin. From here, we are going to jump up to Wraithbone itself and do another dry brush all across the skin, but this time a lot lighter, just capturing the sharpest edges and adding some real contrast to the miniature. And except for those little slits in the arm and some of the appendages, that's the skin going to be complete for now. I do have a plan for those little slits that takes about 5 seconds, but I'll show you that later on in the video. So with the skin done, it's time to block in all of that armor. And this is really where the miniature starts to pull together, because that messy stage we just did kind of ruins the whole look of the model. But when you get the nice clean look across all the armor panels and you can just see the two colors the model's supposed to be, it looks pretty cool. So for that, we use Stegodon Scale Green, a nice kind of bluey green tone. And it works well for that kind of snow camouflage that Tyranids are known for. And that is the thing about Tyranids. They tend to land on a planet and as one color. And then after a little bit of fighting, the next kind of couple of, I don't know, breeds that come down will be camouflaged better and built better for the surroundings. To give you an example of this, in one of the books, Imperial Guardsmen were defending an ice world. And the first wave of Tyranids hit the planet and started charging towards the fortress. But this was like a Valhallan blizzard world. So before the Tyranids got to the walls, they started to freeze and bloat and fall over and get sluggish. And they all died before they got to the walls. And the guardsmen, you know, cheering and they feeling like they've been saved. There's no way Tyranids can fight them on this planet. And then within like half a day, the next wave of Tyranids had hit the ground, and these ones all had extra fat pockets around their ribs. They could see them being like basically like chubby Tyranids. And these ones were built and designed by the Hive to fight in snow environments, winter environments. And then they, of course, rolled on and decimated the poor guardsmen. So that's how quickly Tyranids can adapt to any situation and fight. Altiac blue was used to highlight all of the blue on the carapace, just to brighten it up a bit. As you can see, I'm using that kind of feathering technique, going from kind of 2/3 of the way up the carapace and just dragging it straight down to the point. Not trying to get full opacity. That's the thing about a scheme as alien as this. Nothing should really be full opacity, if you know what I mean. Everything should be kind of mottled and kind of gross and unnatural. There should be no straight lines or pure colors or anything like that. After the Altiac blue stage is done, there's a little trick that I learned from the Golden Shin, a good friend of mine. I'm sure you've seen him on the channel a bunch before. And that was to use Doombull Brown and mix that with a lot of water until you basically get like a heavy glaze. I rarely show you guys my palette, but this is the Doombull Brown. As you can see, it's basically the consistency of milk. And with this, I'm going to paint it into all the cracks and rivets and dents between all of the chitin armor panels. So all those nice neat lines, which is just kind of too much blue, if you know what I mean. I like to go in and, yeah, like I said, paint between all those lines and all those little cracks and stuff that you can see through all the chitin. I also do a little bit of the Doombull Brown through those stages. And you start to see with the first few coats, you're thinking that this isn't going to make such a big difference to the miniature. But wait until I jump a little bit forward and you see the entire miniature done with these kind of extra shadows and colors put on between the armor panels to break it all up. It really does transform the look of these models and gives them once again that more alien look. Tyranids, when I first did them, were basically a project I wanted to do for the sake of the fact that I hadn't done them before really, and I was kind of challenging myself to do maybe just a start collecting box, and that turned into a colossal project of over 6,000 points of Tyranids painted up in this exact scheme. And now I'm adding the Leviathan set to that scheme as well. So in future battle reports where we use the Tyranids and the Space Marines fighting against each other, you can imagine there's going to be quite a lot of Tyranids to play around with. So each battle report should have a very different force. Maybe we can fight through the entire kind of siege of a planet. You know, they start with the infiltration organisms and then work their way all the way through all the other organisms. They don't all genuinely fight together. They have different plans and different functions. And it's very cool trying to figure out how to make kind of narrative or planned games around those. And hopefully I can bring that to you guys in the near future. Volupus Pink was then brought in, and I used this to paint all of the teeth inside the mouth entirely, and then all of those slits in all of the skin that you can see across the body, mostly in the arms and legs. It's a very quick step, but it does add something. Once again, adding another flash of color to the all of that kind of pinky color we did for the skin so far. I know it's set to like 3 times. Once again, it just adds that little alien element to it. I think the design of those little slits in the skin is very clever for adding an accent color to these miniatures. And don't ever underestimate it. If you're painting these guys up in any color scheme, when you get to the end, try and find some sort of complementary color in the form of a contrast, hopefully, and just paint it into those recesses. It'll take you 2 seconds, but it will make all the difference. I then went back to Wraithbone and just re-highlighted all of the teeth that I just didn't envelop as pink. I want to leave basically, 20% of the teeth painted pink all the way up to the gums, just to give that impression of gums. I also painted the Wraithbone into the eyes and then threw a yellow contrast over the top of that and a little bit around to make it look like he has kind of sickly yellow eyes. This is a very quick technique, but it works a charm for getting it done. I then finished basing it in the same snow basing scheme I did the rest of my Tyranids, and then the first miniature from my Leviathan set is now complete. First Tyranid miniature. I've already done a Terminator. I love how he turned out. I'm very excited to start getting to the rest of the miniatures. Let me know what you want the next Tyranid unit to be painted up on the channel, and I'm sure I will get to the one with the most votes. Got a couple of high-res images left to show you guys. Like I said, I'm very pleased with this result. I hope you guys like my Hive Fleet, and if you can think of a really cool name for my Hive Fleet, please help me out and put it in the comments below. Okay, Screamer Killer is all built and painted. Absolutely delighted with the result. I did show it to you at the beginning of the video. I'm super pleased with that. I haven't actually painted that Tyranid scheme in many years, so it's nice to go back to it and see if it's still as easy to paint as I remember. And it is, so I'm not too worried about getting the entire Tyranid side of the box set painted in a very quick and timely manner. If you enjoyed this video and this content, make sure you give the video a like, and comment anything you like down below, and I will get back to each and every one of you guys. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and if you want even more content from me, remember that my patrons get an extra video every single week, so they get an extra 52 videos from me a year, which I think is a pretty good deal. So if you want to join that, there's links to my Patreon below. You also get access to a private Discord server where you can hang out with me and talk about your hobby on a daily basis. Thank you guys so much for sticking around to the very end of this video, and I'll see you in the next one.